Hello, this is Residency Success here with Dr. Aayushi Jain. She actually is our recently matched OBGYN candidate, and we're so proud of her. And she's here taking her time to give us feedback for future candidates who might be wanting to pursue OB or generally residency match in the US. Thank you so much, Dr. Jain, for coming on with us today. And we're hoping just to pick your brain and get some pearls of wisdom for these poor students who were in your shoes last year. So welcome. Tell us a little bit about your background. Where did you go to medical school and introduce yourself?
Thank you so much, Dr. Datta, for the introduction and having me today on this platform. I actually grew up in New Delhi, went to medical school at Maulana Azad Medical College in New Delhi, and after that, I pursued an OBGYN residency from University of Delhi. And that's a little bit about my background.
Okay. So the funny thing is, you had a lot of experience doing deliveries and, you were like a practicing, you did like an internship there. Is that correct?
Yes, I did a proper residency, 3-year residency in OBGYN there.
So with the population of India, I'm assuming that's a lots of deliveries that you did. So like you're
Mhm.
already a pro in OB. And I think one of the challenges we were talking about is that, you're already well trained, but obviously there are a lot of more technical, logical advances in the US, perhaps that
Mhm.
you were trying to focus on kind of highlighting that this is the reason why you wanted to switch over. So why did you choose to come to the US and then pursue the steps as well as apply for residency?
Yeah. Fortunately, I've had a wide variety of experience in India because of just the number of high volume of deliveries, complications. We handled a lot of obstetrical complications in pregnancy, and I trained in a government setting where where I almost performed like 1,000 deliveries over a span of 3 years. But there was something lacking about in terms of resources in India. For example, when we went to do an ectopic pregnancies, we were doing an open surgeries in them, whereas standard of care in US was laparoscopic. So I wanted to learn all the technological advances here, uh, or the cutting edge technology, how it can help the patient and help in caring them in a better fashion. And that's why I decided to pursue and advance my career here. Also, my husband was here. That was also another reason that I moved here.
Right. Well, that's the best reason of all, right? Great. Tell us a little bit about, I know you're very accomplished. When we met, we kind of discussed an overall sort of like strategy for to go forward. And this is what I do with all my candidates. But tell me why you reached out to me and how did you find residency success?
One of my mentors, actually, the place I was doing observership, one of my mentors actually connected me to a previous student of yours. Uh, she actually shared her story with me, how successfully you helped her match into a competitive specialties. Everybody used to tell me, oh, OBGYN is such a competitive specialty, you don't have a chance, and stuff like that. And like hearing her success story, how important you were in her journey as a mentor, I reached out to you. And from our first conversation, like from my first conversation with you, I was like, no, I have to take her help. Like she'll guide me through the process. She'll be the best mentor I could have. And she could actually diagnose. Like I think I was little like I actually was struggling in the interview prep, and I was low on confidence when it came to interview. And like you knew me better than I know about myself, and you helped me point that deficiency and like helped me build the confidence and helped me practice for the interviews. And that just like from my first conversation with you, I was like, I need to have a mentor like you in my journey to residency. And like and thanks to you, that helped me match.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you had interviews in the double digits after I was done advising you on your journey and your documents. And I mean, obviously, It's your hard work that earned those interviews. But what you did was you didn't rest after that. You were still doing things, you were still doing research, you were still like honing your interview skills from early on because you had this kind of insight to realize, hey, look, I'm not good at this. I need help. I need to prepare early on. And I think you were one of the people, plus I can think of two other people that prepared as early as they did. You know, people just like contacting me late, like a week before the interview, 3 days before, and then they wonder why they're not successful. Many times we can pull it off even with one interview, but it's so much better if you prepare ahead of time. You don't sound rehearsed, right? Because I hate rehearsed answers. I hate people who memorize answers. And can we prepare you to answer every question correctly? Probably not, right? Because it's
Mhm,
exhaustive full of interview questions.
mhm,
But
mhm,
landing on your feet is what I always try to teach you. How do you communicate well so that you can show them that, hey, I'm interested in what you have to say. I may not know all the answers, but I'm here to learn, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That actually sums it up. So like growing up, like my parents always taught me the importance of practicing things. Whenever I used to struggle, people used to see me, everything can be done if you practice a lot. And that's where like I contacted you in like month of April, and you mentioned like I was a little hesitant to start, whether April is too soon to start for interview prep, and I was thinking of like preparing for that in September, October, like closer to the interviews. But then you said me like this requires practice. It's not a one-day job, and like and that stuck to me. So like I used to take sessions with you like every month. So definitely, it's like little practice helped me build. Practice is what made me perfect by the end of the interviews. Like I was. It was really the interviews were really conversant. It didn't feel unnatural because I had practiced a lot. So that advice also definitely helped me.
Yeah, I see how confident you are now, you know, and I'm not saying that you weren't that way. I think it just needed to be brought out, you know, because a lot of times, look, as doctors, we're just used to memorizing things, right? But then actually taking that memorized thing from a book and applying it is what the American system really wants, you know? And
Hmm.
also these rehearsed answers don't work during interviews. They want to see your personality. They want to see that you're able to deal with difficult situations, right? That's why there's behavioral questions, right?
Absolutely.
So now you're starting in California as a PGY1 OBGYN resident in less than a month. How do you feel?
Excited and nervous. I never thought that I would match in California and that to a competitive specialty in OBGYN.
Right.
But here I am, like, uh, I'm excited actually.
Yeah, and you know why I'm so excited for you, Aishi? Because you really worked hard. I saw like how much dedication that you put into this whole process. And you know, this is very fulfilling work for me because it's not easy because obviously I'm a full-time attending and I've balanced this on the side as well as best as I can. Sometimes I don't do such a great job, but I'm putting doctors into the world. Like I'm making their dreams come true, and that's a very, very like fulfilling thing for me, you know?
Thank you so much. I mean, I can only imagine like a full-time attending versus and managing and helping so many students. I can only imagine how hard it is. But we are very thankful for you
Thank you
for
so
your
much.
help.
Now it's like you guys make it easy for me because you're very good about taking my advice. Sometimes people aren't, but that's okay with me also. You don't always have, you can just adapt what I say to personalize it for yourself, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
It's really like, tell me about the system, Ayushi. Like in, let's say in India where you came from, like the way people are selected for residency or a position, right? It's all by merit, correct?
Exactly. So that was the biggest difference. So like for like my entire career in India, we were taught to just excel in exams, and that's what we used to do, just memorize stuff, go and give exams. Obviously, we worked hard for that, but we never had this interview sort of setting in India, unless until you're going for a job. For examination for PG entrance, we have just one exam, go and So that's where I was very nervous. Like, it's a whole together a different system here. First, you have to give your exams, then you have to prepare an application where you have to focus on letters of recommendation, personal statement, and then like perfect like be like good at interviews and also practicing those interview skills. So I think that's a major difference for me that was in India versus here.
What do you think you can tell people in your shoes now that are watching this video? Like, I know there's no magic bullet, right? Because it's everyone asks me, oh, well, tell me this, tell me that. They give me like the listing of their background, all their scores, and they tell me is my choice, what is my
Mhm.
chance. And it's very hard for me to determine because it's not like I'm a computer data prediction model or something like that, right? So
Mhm, mhm,
it's very
mhm.
difficult to say, oh yeah, your chances are 50%, your chances are 30. Obviously, we can say, okay, if your year of graduation is long, plus you have no clinical experience and you have failures, it's going to be much harder. It'll be like in the teens, the percentage for you to match. But what
Right.
advice do you want to give everybody about like how to prepare, what you wish you knew, what would you do differently?
That's a great question. So I think everybody, like most of the people have a red flag. I had a red flag of year of graduation. I was 5+ because of the residency and then moving here and giving exams and all of that. I had a gap from my year of graduation. A lot of people told me that it is not possible, but one advice I would have for people is never listen to those naysayers. Uh, I mean, never give up. Obviously, whatever things are in your hand right now, focus on that. For example, year of graduation was something that was not in my hand to change it. But what I had was to change my scores, like once I gave my steps. So I can't pinpoint a single factor which helped me match, but there was a series of factors that helped me match. I was giving my steps. I focused fully on that. I tried to get as much as I could. I mean, scored like good marks in that. If that's not like if that's something a red flag for you, then you focus on your personal statement, getting clinical experience, getting research experience for everything. Like I got a great letter of recommendation. The places I observed at, the people were really impressed with me. I really worked hard, showed them like my caliber, and they were really impressed with me, and that's why I got a good letter of recommendation. Then worked very hard on my personal statement. I mean, a personal statement was something you need to show your journey. Again, put in uh think about it, put in uh, 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 like I think for the personal statement you have to show like your story.
Right.
It has to be convincing why you're doing this and why you want to do that. And after that, I mean, the story doesn't end. You get interviews and you're not able to convert. And I've seen people with double digit not getting matched too.
Right.
And so the story doesn't end there. And you have to practice for interviews. I think one advice I would have is to never stop trying. I think you good at interviews, you have to still practice and like give your maximum efforts. I think
Yeah,
this is
no,
can
I absolutely agree because you know what? And you know, this thing that you've learned um, already, right? That you don't give up no matter what. It doesn't mean that a failure on a exam determines your worth, right?
Mhm.
That how long ago you graduated and how many times you tried, it doesn't determine your worth. That doesn't mean you're a bad doctor or a bad person. It just means you haven't done something correctly the first or second time, with whichever time you've tried. So
Mhm.
it's not luck, it's hard work and kind of emotional intelligence. I always say EQ, emotional intelligence. You know, that's something that a lot of people are lacking that, you know, perhaps haven't lived in the US very long because they're not just used to this system.
Mhm.
And
Exactly.
underestimate your enemy. You are going into battle into an unknown foreign territory, meaning you're in a different country, language could be some language barrier. And even if there isn't language barrier, there are a lot of things that are very idiomatic in American culture, that people don't know how to make small talk. They don't understand when someone's joking versus not. They think just because your interviews are conversant that they did really well. Sometimes conversant interviews are the worst because the person doesn't learn anything about you, by the time they hang up. So we teach you tactics in order to sell yourself and insert something about yourself that they'll learn before they hang up,
Right.
Yeah.
And you having as a mentor who actually trained here, went through the system, really helped me. I mean, you exactly knew like what they are expecting,
Right.
and you knew where my weaknesses were, and that's why like that's why like I took your help, and that helped me through the journey, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, you know what it is? It's like you will become this way too. You have to start reading people a little bit, right? And the good thing about me, I have a little psychology background from undergrad, and based on talking to people, patients over time, you start realizing where the person is lacking and what you can help them with, and you try to do it. And the better you get at it, the better you do get at diagnosing the patient, the person, and the candidate. So kind of that's how I like apply it across the board, So yeah, so you'll get good at that too, and you'll get more efficient as you go on.
Mhm.
So in terms of, I mean, you've shared a lot about your background with us. We are extremely, extremely proud of you with what you've been able to accomplish. What's in your future goals? Like, what do you see? Where do you see yourself? That whole cliche question, 5 years.
Thank you so much. A whole cliched question. 5 years. Actually, I hope to have completed a residency. Uh, and also, I'm actually want to get associated with an academic teaching hospital, and also like help students like me, like coming on this public platform. This is a way I can actually help people who are struggling, like who are struggling like me, like I was in their shoes a year ago. I really want to help such people to get through this residency and tell them OBGYN for an IMG is not as hard as they think, and be an advocate for them, help them through this journey. I think that's where I see myself, like being an advocate for medical students who wants to pursue an OBGYN residency.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of medicine. It's like the reach back, each one teach one, right?
Teach one.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
basically, you are going to be a residency success ambassador for us. You've already started inspiring other people, that you match into such a competitive specialty, a surgical specialty at that. And we'll continue to be in close contact with you to make sure that, you are doing well, because we also have quite a few residents who are now wanting to enter fellowship, and you actually would be surprised. You're like, yeah, it's a lot of time, like my first year, it's my second year, but that time flies, and before you know it, you have not done the right things in order to place yourself in a position to do fellowship. Okay, so
Uh-huh.
another thing we mentor our future candidates for is how to get into a competitive fellowship and what to do once you start, you know?
That's a great initiative.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So hopefully we'll stay in close touch. Again, we really, really thank you for being here. It's been so helpful for us, to mentor you. And I always say that I learn just as much from my candidates as you guys learn from me, because it's a real joy for me to meet people from all over the world. And like, you share so much about your lives with me, and I'm just really grateful for that. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much for having me at this platform, and I hope this helps a lot of students who want to pursue OBGYN residency.
Yeah, I think it will. Thank you so much, Dr. Jan. It was
Thank you
a
so much. Bye bye.